Jim back here with you with another video. If you're new to the channel, welcome. We're going to be looking at some Schrade Scrimshaw knives tonight, and some of my favorite, I guess, sub-series of Schrade knives is the Scrimshaw. I've got videos that I've done on Old Timer. That's probably my favorite series from Schrade. And of course, Uncle Henry, we've done a video on that. So we're going to be looking at another sub-series, I guess you could call it, of the Scrimshaw series. It's one of my favorite series. I like them all, let's just face it. I try to pick these up anytime that I find them, even if I find multiples of them, just because it seems like they are getting harder and harder to find in good shape. They're all like little pieces of art when you look at them, in my opinion. Each knife is unique. It was a long-running series with Schrade. I believe that those started back in the early 80s, possibly the late 70s, but into the early 80s, into I believe, when the Schrade USA company shut down, I think in 2007. And even, I think that I've even got one a little newer, and it is an imported knife, but it's still a beautiful knife. They're just, like I said, one of my favorites, little works of art, and they're very collectible, and so many different patterns and things that goes with them. So anyway, let's flip the camera around. Thank you for stopping by. If you're new to the channel, thanks for coming by. Let's flip the camera around and get on the table and look at some Schrade Scrimshaw knives. Thanks for stopping by. All right, guys, thanks for stopping by. So, Schrade Scrimshaw knives. So many of us love the Schrade USA knives. They're great knives, great built knives, easy to carry knives, very affordable. But the Scrimshaw series is just one of the nicest series, the prettiest series of knives that I think that Schrade had ever done. So I'm going to show you, I have a display. I think you'll see it in the thumbnail of the video, but I try to keep the ones that I have in this display case, and we'll just take just a few minutes to look through these. And I've got one here that I'm going to look at and do a little before and after, one that I've restored, and then I've got a couple honorable mention. My son also likes the Scrimshaw series. He's not a huge collector, but he does enjoy the Scrimshaw. So I've got two that I've borrowed from his collection that he's okay with me showing, and with this resto knife. But as we go through and we look at these, what you'll find is that you'll find that many of these will coincide with the old timer line. So there'll be a couple of these that you'll notice that look like the 194 OT, and you'll see some of these that look like the single blade folding hunter. You'll see some of the Barlows that match. You'll see so many of these like the fixed blades that will, and I don't have all the item numbers, the model numbers memorized, but you'll see that, hey, that looks like a 194, or that looks like an 8OT, or that looks like a 5OT, in different variations, and they do. And I'm trying to keep the video within a reasonable time frame, and I was thinking about doing the old timer patterns with it, but we've done an old timer video, and you guys know the old timer line. So for the sake of time, we'll just go through, but just keep that in mind as you go through the video, that many of these are the old timer knife patterns with the Scrimshaw design. So let's just start with this one. So this is one that I had done a post on, a before and after, and you'll see some before and after footage here on the video of this knife. This knife was in bad shape, almost unrecognizable as a Scrimshaw. It was buried in a display case in an antique store in Greenville, Tennessee, and excuse me, I had dug through and looked at it and realized that it was a folding hunter Scrimshaw. This is the SC500, as you can see there on the Tane stamp. And like I said, you'll recognize this knife as many of the single blade old timer lines. And this is a neat knife, as where it does not have the plus, so it's carbon steel. hence the rust that was on this knife, if you saw in the before and after. Now, the blade was in pretty good shape. I mean, there is some pitting there on it, but the blade is pretty full and in pretty good shape. We did have some rust to get off of that, and there's some rust on the dipstick, as they say, or some oil on the dipstick rather. There, I've really spent quite a bit of time on and off with this one, different stages, and I didn't do a cleaning video on it, guys. I've got some cleaning videos if y'all want to go back and look at those, but y'all know the process pretty much. But this one really had some really bad rust where you can see the pitting there really had some bad spot on it. And you can see some pitting there on the spring as well. And there was some bad pitting here, as you can see in those before and after shots. So I didn't get a lot of action back into this. Well, it seemed like it had a little more than it did. A little more, yeah, not much on the close, but on the open we do get some pretty decent snap. No blade play, and it locks up tremendously. I've not had a decent edge. I've not really done much to the edge, and it really cleaned up pretty good. The bolster's cleaned up good. The channel, you can see some pitting and some things in there. This little area, if you've ever restored one of these where the lanyard loop goes through, it is a bear. I spent a lot of time getting rust out of it. And where this is a carbon knife, it had a lot of rust on it, but you'll see some pitting in the channel there, but got pretty much all the rust out. This is a bear. If you've ever restored or cleaned one of these, this area is very hard to clean because of the liner lock, but we got pretty much all of it out. It really ended up being a pretty nice restore job and clean up overall. So the artwork, let's take a look at that. So as you saw in the pictures, the artwork was pretty much gone as far as the inking. The engraving work was still there, but the ink was pretty much gone. And I didn't know what I was going to do. I was going to show this and not worry about having it inked in. I really didn't know how I was going to go about it. And one of my subscribers who comments, and his name is Joel. Joel, you'll know who you are if you watch this video, had put in there, give a tip on how to do that. And I didn't do a perfect job, but I feel like I did a good enough job on this to get the ink back in there. He had the idea of coloring it in very carefully with the Sharpie and then going back and sanding it. And that's what I did. Now, it's not as easy as it sounds. And guys, listen, I'm not a professional. I'm not as good as a lot of these guys, Southern Knife Enthusiast and the Knife Doctor. I tinker, I dabble. But I really feel like that turned out okay, as you saw before in the before and after shots. I got pretty much all of the ink back in there, and it was took a couple applications with a really, really fine point Sharpie and sanding with some different grits, but we got it back. And I'll be honest with you, I can live with that. I'm pretty happy with that. So we got that back in. As you can tell, it's got the 2 moose scene on it. A big single blade SC500 single blade folding hunter, and it's going to hold a great edge with some great carbon steel. So yes, I am very happy with this knife. I don't remember how much I gave for it. I got it pretty inexpensive at the antique store, and it did have a lot of rust. Now she's got some more wounds on her with some pitting and some things being carbon, but listen, there's nothing wrong with this knife. I'm happy to have it in my collection. It's going to hold a great edge, and it's just a great old Scrimshaw that, with a little bit of time, a little bit of elbow grease, and some patience, has come back to life there with the 2 moose scene there on it. So yeah, I'm very, very happy with that. So we'll set this one here, and then these are a couple that my son, like I said, he has a smaller knife collection, and he has these in his collection. So this one is actually one that I purchased for him. So I may end up doing some re-ink on this one. I don't know. I may just leave it the way it is. He is a coon hunter. He runs blue ticks, and he's a big raccoon hunter. And when he graduated from his electrical apprenticeship, he's an electrician. I bought this at a antique store or actually a flea market. Guy had a couple Scrimshaws. I was actually hoping they make this design, or they make a raccoon design on a Barlow, and we both like Barlows, and I could not find it. And this date stamp, it's an older date stamp, SCC USA, Schrade Cutlery Company, and this knife was in really good shape. The ink was a little light, but of course, this is a Stockman. This is probably going to be close to like an 80T. But just a beautiful knife with some beautiful artwork there with the raccoons. Yeah, so this is one that is in his collection, and I think he bought this one last year at Ellaville. This one is, I think there's a stamp on that under that artwork of 1990. This thing was almost mint. Now, he got a box with this. I think he bought this at the Deep South Cutlery booth, and it's even got a number on it, 2296 there on the bolster. Here it is again, sort of like this 80T based on that large Stockman frame. Beautiful knife, beautiful knife. Still got the Scrimshaw logo on it. 2 ducks. He also is a duck hunter. There's not a lot that we don't hunt or fish for here at our house. And anyway, he's gotten into duck hunting the past several years, and he loved that. So we came back. He came back from Ellaville with me last year with that knife. So I appreciate him letting me show those. And we have our Restore knife there, and then we're going to get into this case. And like I said, these have been one of my favorite patterns for quite a while. I'm going to try to turn this case without knocking it off the table. So we'll just start with the Barlow. So this is a Barlow that I had found up in East Tennessee. I think in it may have been Virginia actually. And I'm thinking that's a Cody, maybe a Fox. I'm thinking it's probably Cody, but anyway, on this, and that here again, just some beautiful, check out the detail. I don't think that's a wolf. I'm thinking that might be a Cody, guys. I'm not for sure. It's getting late, but just nevertheless. But look at that, the bolster work on this. It was in just beautiful shape. I did not get a box. Well, most of these I've not been fortunate enough to get the box with, but there's a look at the blade. This is the, let's see if I can see that there, SC506 maybe? SC506, y'all can see the tang stamp there. I don't think this one was really used much at all, but just a beautiful, beautiful knife. And one reason I've been trying to find some doubles of a lot of these is because I want to carry them, right? But a lot of these I don't, because I want to make sure to preserve that artwork. But yeah, so there's a Barlow, and there's our pen blade. This knife has seen very, very little, if any, use. It's pretty much a near mint model there with the artwork. So there's a Barlow. This one, single blade lock back. I picked this up in Chattanooga, Tennessee, I'm pretty sure, at a pawn shop. And I love buffaloes, buffalo nickels. I love the animal. I love that Old West theme. So there we have, this is a commemorative Scrimshaw here, and I think that Dwayne over at Cross Creek has one like that. This is the 1916, 1980. This is the 75th National Park Anniversary Scrimshaw. 515 SC. This might be after the 50T pattern, I think. Anyway, that coincides with Old Timer, but just a beautiful knife. I do have the box and everything with this. It had a nice commemorative box that came with it. For time's sake, I won't get that out. But yeah, just a beautiful little single blade lock back. Great knife. But happy to have that as part of the Scrimshaw collection. Let's look at a couple fixed blades. So this one I found in Georgia at a antique store. Now, I do have the sheath and everything. This thing is like mint. I mean, I've got the box with it too. This is a 0893. That actually might be a birth date or something on that, or a serial number, but this is a 518 SC. You can see the the relationship to its old timer cousin, but it's got a beautiful, beautiful stars and stripes with the eagle on the handle. Got that Scrimshaw logo on the blade, fixed blade, gut hook. Still got a good edge. Really, really great shape. I think this had just been sitting in a box for a long time, guys, because like I said, I've got the box and the sheath to go with it, but I just keep it in the display like that for now. But very patriotic, very beautiful example of a Scrimshaw. So we'll set that one here. And the other fixed blade I've got, I did not get a sheath with this one. It's got some pheasants there on it. I picked this up at an antique store in North Knoxville. I'm sorry, a pawn shop in North Knox. I've had this one for several years. This is the USA SC502. It did not have a sheath with it, and I got a really good deal on it because of that. But what is that? Look like the sharp finger right there, old timer, and it's still got the logo on it. This one's really had a good edge. I've never carried this one, and but it's got a great edge on it. Got beautiful artwork there with the pheasant flying out. Looks like they're off a pine tree or something maybe, and just a beautiful, beautiful artwork. And the color's still good. The white is still really vibrant on it. Whoops, sorry guys. And just another. That's the only two fixed blade Scrimshaws that I have, and we'll slide those out of the way. So, and then a lot of these, the rest of these are going to be like a 94 OT or 194 OT or some of the stock. Let's look at this one. So this was one that I had gotten. Let's see, was it this one? Yeah, okay. There's definitely a story behind this knife. I got this knife. This is not a Schrade, it's a Frontier, but I didn't care. I got this from my buddy Kevin Pace over at Alabama Knife and Tool. Brother Kevin, he's a great guy. And this is, like I said, it's not a Schrade, but it's okay. It's a Scrimshaw nonetheless. It's got a Scrimshaw logo on it. Beautiful, beautiful, big, thick blade. Beautiful swedging on that blade, and just I love the bass engraving on that with the artwork. Kevin had shown me this. We had done a trade on this, and he got this to me, and I'm very happy with it. And it's razor sharp. If you know, you know. It is screaming sharp. I think this knife has bit a couple of my buddies as it's gone through our different knife groups, but it's got a knife, a home here for sure in my collection. But yeah, so there's a Frontier version of a Scrimshaw, and it's in great condition. So we were happy to have that. And then another folding, this is going to be a Schrade that is, here again, like an 8OT big Stockman with the looks like ducks. I think it's on that one as well. Yep, ducks on that one. It's got a Abrams Construction 1995. It's got an advertising on it. It's going to be that same SC505, I think is what's on the tang stamp. But just beautiful artwork, beautiful Scrimshaw work on that. That one, I guess, since they put the company logo, they don't have the Scrimshaw logo on it, but it's got ducks on it. These are great pocket knives, great USA made pocket knives as well. So we'll set that one there. This is one I picked up not too long ago in North Carolina, and this one came with like a little commemorative tin and everything. It's got a number on it, 2274. Back to the pheasant theme. Beautiful Scrimshaw. I keep saying the word beautiful over and over, I know, guys, but it to me, that just is to have that kind of artwork on a pocket knife, and very affordable to find these as well. It just, I love them. This is like a trapper. This is limited edition, and it's got the Schrade Plus USA. Like I said, this is one that had more of a commemorative tin and things with it. A long blade or a pin blade, trapper blade, probably more of a 94, I think it is, OT pattern, if I'm right with my model numbers there for the old timer cousins. But yeah, back to the the theme of the pheasant there with those. So back looking at fish, this one is probably going to be like a 194 OT single blade lockback. Beautiful knife. And I'll be honest with you, I can't remember where I got this one. I may have gotten this one in Georgia at a pawn shop, I think, is where I got this one. This is SC503. So got the logo. Y'all know the 194 OT. It's one of my favorite carry knives. Got the trout on there. I believe that's what that is, going after the fly. Beautiful knife. Beautiful lockup on that. Yeah, I'm pretty sure I got that in Georgia at a pawn shop. Try to do this without cutting myself. So happy to have that one back with the fish theme. And another fish. This is one I know I have two of, because I've got one in the box that I do carry from time to time. But this one was in better shape, and the Scrimshaw works a little better. This is a gar going after a small fish there. And this is that same 194 OT pattern. Scrimshaw, the 194 being the old timer, but this is the SC503 again. Beautiful lockup, beautiful knife. Same knife pattern as this one, but just with the different fish, different wildlife scene on there as well. So this is the trout, this is the gar, and then this one, oh man, I didn't realize I had three of the same pattern. So this one I think is crappie. No, let's see. No, actually that's the bass. My bad. They have one with a crappie scene that's similar to this, but this is the bass scene. It looks like going after the minnows there, going after the little fish. And I thought this one was just a trapper, but here again, it's that 503 pattern again. Schrade Plus with the Scrimshaw. You guys, listen, when I find them, I just get them. I'd love to have another Barlow. I'd love to have another fixed blade. But when you find them, you just got to get what you can find. The engraving on this one is really, really good. As you can tell there in the light, it's really deep. It's held up really well. And it's just a beautiful example of one of these old Schrade Scrimshaw knives. There with the bass, going with that fishing theme. And let's see, this one, I think this is, yeah, another Stockman with the duck, with the mallard. Got that tang stamp there. A lot of these got oil on them. I need to wipe them down again. The Schrade Scrimshaw. Guys, y'all know the pattern of the 8OT clip point, sheep's foot, spay blade, but with some beautiful artwork there of a mallard, of a duck. I'm thinking that's a mallard there. A little boat here in the background. Just a beautiful, beautiful pocket knife. So we'll sort of run out of room. Let's set this one back here. I got a couple more now. Now this one, this is why I'm thinking that that Schrade continue. I saw this one over in Jonesboro, Tennessee, at an antique store, and I noticed that it had the Scrimshaw work, but it's you could tell it's a little different. Some of these, it's not as dark and it's maybe not as clear. But this is a Schrade, but this is the Schrade. This is the 55th anniversary. This is an imported one, and they're calling this the 8OTYE. And was it Taylor Cutlery? It owns them now, I think, that owns Schrade. But it was imported, but I got a great deal on it. And guys, I couldn't leave it at the antique store. I didn't care. I don't care if it's imported. It goes good with my Scrimshaw collection. And there we've got a deer in the woods with some trees and some things in the background. Looks like a pretty good 10-pointer there. Stockman pattern here again. Had that cool logo on it, 55th anniversary. Still based on that large Stockman pattern. So happy to have that in the collection. Now this one is really, really cool. I've not seen too many of these. I know some of you guys have these. And here again, wow, it's another lock back. That's probably I've got more of in these Scrimshaws than anything. But this is the Santa's Workshop. And I didn't get it out, but somewhere over here, I keep a bunch of tins and things. This comes with a tin and a little pocket watch. And these go for pretty good money on eBay in different places. But this is the Santa's Workshop lockback Scrimshaw. And there we go. Merry Christmas. There's the item number again, 503. I think that's what it is. It's got the lockup on it. Yeah, I found this at one of my antique stores here in Knoxville. I knew what it was when I saw it, and I couldn't get the person to come back and unlock the case fast enough for me to get my hands on this. And it still had the tin, still had the liner, still had the paperwork, still had the little pocket watch with it. And I'm happy to have it. It's got one of Santa's elves on there. Check out that red. And it's still got a little bit of a color in the leaves, in the greenery there. That is, to me, that is just cool. You just don't see stuff much like this anymore. I know Case does some Christmas knives and things, but that is just awesome. And to open that up and have that Merry Christmas on there, I just think that's awesome. So anyway, guys, we're at 24 minutes. Thank you all so much for stopping by. Thank you for looking at these Scrimshaw knives. If you have more information on the Scrimshaws, please put it in the comments. I'm probably messed some of these item numbers up, and I just like to show knives that I think either that guys that collect them like me, maybe there's some in here that you collect and you've not seen, and here they are, and vice versa. I love seeing your all's different collections and things on there as well. I think that's the beauty of the community, is seeing knives that we've never seen before and getting information on them. So, and then for new collectors as well, maybe you see, maybe you're out and you see a pocket knife that has a duck on it. You think, well, what is that? And, now maybe you have an idea of what to look for if you're out collecting in the wild at flea markets, antique stores, pawn shops. It's a great series to collect, and they make a bunch of them. They have some huge, huge display cases at Smoky Mountain Knife Works. They used to keep them going downstairs, going down this little walkway area down the stairs there on the left, and I think they've got pretty much every Scrimshaw ever made, but it's so cool to look at them. So guys, thank you for stopping by. Thank you for supporting the channel and checking out these all these Scrimshaw knives. And guys, just remember as we close, he loves us. He loves every one of us, and he sent his son to die for us on the cross. Thank you for stopping by, and we'll see you on the next video.